wasn't good enough on our end. Got to be better.
Throws it to the sideline. Open is Robinson. Down the right sideline. Cuts inside at the 5. In for the touchdown.
Eagles about to be in a 10-point hold to a 1-4 football team. Hurts back. Throws left. Pass intercepted.
We can't keep putting pressure on defense. At some point, we have to carry our own weight.
Scottaboo's third rushing touchdown.
Giants lead at 33-17.
Oh, he does a backflip.
There's always lessons to be learned in these things, and we got to choose to learn from it.
Welcome to this Friday edition of First Take ESPN. I'm MJ Acosta-Ruiz. We've got Stephen A. Smith, Cam Newton, and Ryan Clark all in the gang today. But guys, let's
to my boys.
Okay.
What up, my guys? To my
Look
boys.
at the squad.
To my boys. Good morning. To MJ, como está?
Muy bien. Buenos dias. He's in the Miami vibe. Full force.
Stephen A. is not Dominican, guys. Like, we have to stop it.
Who's to say? Have we done the ancestry?
But Juvie is. My boy Juvie is. Remember that, Austin. My bodyguard. That's right.
Plenty Dominican for all, okay? Let's go. Let's dive right into that Thursday night upset. Craziness last night. The Giants took it to the defending champs with rookies Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo leading the way. Dart threw for a touchdown and ran for another, while Scatterbo added 3 scores of his own. Big Blue defense also stepped up, forcing 2 turnovers and keeping the Eagles off the board in the second half. The 34-17 win was New York's first division win since 2023. Eagles players were not happy post-game. Take a listen.
The execution isn't there. We get behind the chains. I get very predictable. At the end of the day, we got to be able to keep the defense guessing, not be predictable.
I don't get into it's predictable or pointing fingers. Like, I'm not gonna. I think KP's doing a hell of a job, but we all got to be better, and that's just the truth. And if anybody else thinks anything different, they got to wake up.
I got to be better. Got to be better. I take ownership for it. A lot of autonomy, a lot of opportunity there with the ball in my hands, and given those situations, I have to be wiser and more detailed with it.
We sat here yesterday trying to dissect what was going on with the Eagles. What is the disconnect? Why are they not winning? Why are they playing the way that they are? Just bad at football. We heard Jalen Hurts right there take accountability for his portion of this. But Cam, how much blame is on Jalen Hurts for this loss?
Well, I don't think it's too much on Jalen Hurts than it is to Kevin Patullo. I mean, in any type of dynamic with this, you don't want to make matters worse. Nobody wants to play the blame game, but we have to play the accountability game. And when I look at Jalen Hurts' career, the thing that he has not openly said but needs to be taken into consideration is Jalen Hurts, out of his years in Philadelphia, has had a different signal caller in the last 5 years. When you look back, Kevin Patullo this year, Kellen Moore last year, Brian Johnson the year before that, and it's changing and changing. When I look at this type of dynamic, when you look at Kevin Patullo's kind of history of play calling, this is his first time calling plays in an actual game for an actual team. Now, that doesn't mean you haven't assisted in gameplay strategies, game planning, or designing plays or whatever, but it's a little different when you have the opportunity to call the actual play in real time. The thing to give this more reference is, if nobody has ever drove before, Stephen Anthony, Ryan Terry, and Maria Josetta, if nobody has ever drove before as a high school student, you're expecting a plucker to come into the driveway or to the student parking lot. Well, if this is your first time driving, you basically gave Kevin Patullo a Rolls Royce Cullinan and said, hey, go drive. And he's been underperforming all year. But now teams are not bailing him out in the last 2 weeks. Now things are getting exposed, and it's going to get extremely interesting in Philadelphia moving forward.
Well, let me say this. First things first. First Take, obviously, #1 morning show in sports for the last 13 straight years. You can't come on national television and be calling people out their name, Cam. People gonna start believing that's what our names are. Yes, I mean, you got to. Everybody, nobody's gonna get confused. We don't care.
That's my real name.
I'm just saying, he making up that Quavius and all. I mean, come on now. You got to be careful with stuff like that. That's number one. Number two, here's my thing. I don't agree with you, Cam. I got to push back on you with this. Here's why. Yeah, you got an offensive coordinator, a new one. Obviously, his first time calling plays. I don't know what the hell they're thinking, particularly with the trouble that Nick Sirianni has had in the past, where he ultimately had to give up play calling, for crying out loud. I got to think about those kind of things, right? And so when you make that transition, it needs to be a more experienced voice, a more experienced hand. And losing Kellen Moore last year to being the head coach for the New Orleans Saints obviously has affected them drastically. We get that part. But Jalen Hurts is no rookie. He's been in this league long enough where if you've got an offensive coordinator, of course you want to defer to him. Of course he's the authoritative figure. But you got to get in his ear and be like, yo, man, this is a bit predictable. This ain't working. People are calling us boring. People are calling us predictable. And then they're going out about the business of showing us that's exactly what the hell we are. And it's working to our detriment. Over the last 2 games, I'm just looking at the Philadelphia Eagles right here, okay? This is the Philadelphia Eagles that we're talking about here. Passes per attempt for their first 4 games, RC, Cam, they were throwing the ball 25 times a game. Over the last 2 games, it's 35 times. They were rushing the ball nearly 33 times a game. That's dipped to 15 and a half. They were scoring 27 a game. It's now at 17 a game. What the hell is going on? When we talk about an identity, we don't know who they are because they don't know who they are. You're looking at wide receivers. One minute you think they're calling out Jalen. Another minute you think that they're looking at the offensive coordinator and saying, what the hell is going on? But then you see Devontae Smith wide open. He gets missed. You see A.J. Brown wide open when Hurts throws that interception. A.J. Brown was wide open in the end zone. Wide open. Just a few feet behind him, but he made the wrong decision. You got to take those into account and look at him. Those are not offensive coordinator play calling right there. That's Jalen Hurts missing, and we have to point that out. That's not to say that you completely absolve Petula. I get that part. But Jalen Hurts said it best. He's got to play better. He's got to do better. And most importantly, he's got to look better because right now everybody's looking at him and they're seeing how predictable the Eagles' offense is. And the Giants showed that it played right into their hands last night.
Honestly, this game is on Jalen Hurts. And I'm not saying that's the only reason that they lost, right? Quinyon Mitchell is injured. Jalen Carter is injured. We understand how that defense was behind the sticks. But let's go to the end of the half. Jalen Hurts has an opportunity to get Bates in field goal position. He scrambles on 3rd down. He slides. They don't get a field goal. They don't get an opportunity. They don't get another play. That's a mismanagement of the clock by Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith is running wide open down the seam after a coverage bust, and Jalen Hurts overthrows him. Stephen A. has already mentioned that A.J. Brown was open on the man coverage where he throws the interception, attempting to get the ball to Jahan Dotson, but he has to put that football on the outside. Those are all Jalen Hurts mistakes, and there's a lot of time that I feel like Jalen Hurts goes into a post-game press conference and it's coach speak, right? It's quarterback speech. It's leadership speech where he is taking the blame and taking accountability for things he didn't do. That wasn't last night. Stephen A. has this saying, and I love this saying. He says, don't let it be on you. If we're sitting here today and the score is 34-33 and Jalen Hurts makes every single play that he's supposed to make, if he gets